Hello and welcome to the most must-hear podcast in the world of rock. Join hosts Charlotte, Joe and Max as they run down the latest news and their favorite bands. Ladies and gentlemen, the Overtone podcast.
It's fucking freezing. I have a blanket over me, so I'm glad this isn't a video podcast.
I would much rather be sitting here in like a hoodie and like a blanket on me. My housemates still like the house quite warm. So I'm sitting here like, even though the radiator's off in my room and everything, my room is still really warm, and I do not like it.
I wish I could afford heating.
Thing is, we can't. Like,
you just got no choice.
it's like, right, we have like a capped bills thing. It's pretty decent because our landlord's really nice about it. But if we go beyond that, we have to pay the excess.
Oh,
I'm the only one with a job.
Oh no! So you're always paying the excess.
We've never gone to it yet, but then obviously it wasn't really bad last year.
Yeah.
Price everything, and so I'm just here like, I swear to fucking God, like don't turn the heating on.
Especially if you've got your radiator off as well. You really shouldn't be having to pick up the slack if you're not the one using it.
Like I have like, when no one else is in the house, I have all of the radiators on like the frost setting, so that it'll have like a little bit of hot water go through just to make sure nothing freezes.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only one that's on is the bathroom one to dry towels.
Sounds
that's
good.
it. Anyway.
So yeah, I really don't think there's that much news this week.
There really doesn't seem to be.
It's pretty much the only thing I can find is, oh look, Metallica have just dropped all this music and news and announcements and stuff.
Do you mean the band from Stranger Things?
Yes, that one that Eddie likes.
Ah, cool. I've seen the first two seasons of Stranger Things. I really shouldn't make jokes because like I have no idea what's going on.
It took me a good year to get around to watching season 3. I really didn't like season 2, so I nearly just stopped watching it.
Best part of season 2 is Samwise Gamgee, mate.
Yes, I was so sad when he died. You could see it coming a mile away, and it still happened, and it's like, oh no.
That's the thing. Like, I knew it was going to happen, and I was just there, like, I watched my dad, and we're both there, like, massive Lord of the Rings nerds, just there, like, in absolute tatters.
Yep. Same here. Like I said, there was the whole Axl Rose thing, but that seems to have all just kind of gone away now.
I don't know what happened with that one, so I'm quite interested.
Basically, he's been doing the same thing for, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years now, where at the end of the gig, he'll launch his mic into the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, as a kind of, look at me, we have money kind of thing.
Yeah, we can afford to replace the very generic SM58 we have used.
Yeah, 100%. You know, he'll go and quickly swap out his actual mic for this shitty, cheap, light one.
Like, definitively,
no like launching a really expensive mic into the crowd every day.
Like, it's 100% like a cheap Chinese knockoff.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't even have the internals in it anymore.
Yes, just the casing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and basically, I assume this woman just didn't put her hands up, didn't see it coming. It hit her in the face. I think broke her nose, gave her a black eye or two.
Jesus.
And yeah, she threw a massive strop about it on social media. I think she threatened to sue, maybe.
Damn right.
So Axl's come out and apologized on Twitter and all this and said he won't do it anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Who's paying her medical bills?
I have no idea. I don't even know where this happened.
So I think actually, whilst it is, I mean, whilst this is like complete nothingness news, like I thought when you had messaged me about the like Axl Rose hit someone, like he had just like punch someone in the face, kind of hit someone.
Just
not like
climbed into the crowd.
Microphone.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
Just middle of a pit, like just proper good, you know, right hook on the guy. But I think it does bring up an interesting point of like, so when I was younger, I used to be a big fan of Falling in Reverse, right? Arguably, I still am. The singer, interesting character, and I don't agree with everything he says.
Yeah.
But I enjoy some of the music. I think that is a conversation for a different day. But I'm fairly certain it was Ronnie. With Following the Verse back in the day, where he threw a microphone stand. I'll check this as I'm saying it. If I remember correctly, yes. 2012. Ronnie Radke was allegedly arrested for throwing mic stands into a crowd at their performance in a gig in New Jersey.
Okay.
And it apparently injured a pair of people when they were struck in the head, one of which was, according to Loudwire, who I think we all trust.
Yeah.
One of the victims was a 16-year-old girl who suffered a 2 to 3 inch cut on the top of her head and a bruised forehead. And the other was a 24-year-old man who injuries were not listed. Yeah. So it's not the first time that,
no, I mean, yeah, this stuff's been happening forever, hasn't it?
But I mean, I do find it quite amusing that in one of their songs, Zombified, which is just them taking the mick out of everything they've ever done, everything people have got angry for, he does throw a mic stand through a zombie's head.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, there's so much to break down. That video is amazing. This then got him in more trouble, or at least like there was a thing around a similar time. I think I don't know when Zombified came out. When did Zombified come out?
Say
oh
this
no,
year,
this
actually.
is 2 years ago. Wow, yeah, 2 years before that.
Okay.
It sort of flared up. So before Zombified was made, where someone tweeted at Ronnie asking if he had like ever actually apologized for it. And Ronnie, or rather stating that he's apologized so many times for the one mic stand. How long ago was it? People still give a shit. And he basically went on going, I've never apologized. Girl got almost $1 million for a small cut, and it helped his kindness and apologies. I mean, I think it's interesting to see, like, Ronnie clearly doesn't care. Axl Rose 100% does not care.
No, this is all very much his, big PR.
Well, much like
marketing company, they've just gone, just come out and apologize.
But then, much like Ronnie said, and I'm not trying to say Ronnie is actually no. I don't know. I don't want to throw stones. But at least Ronnie has the balls to turn around and just be like, yeah, it helped my persona. That's it. It's been Axl Rose's persona for
100%. Yeah.
It's just I think Ronnie has the balls and doesn't have the marketing team to apologize.
Probably not a good idea.
But it's like, at least from like how I'm into all this with like, especially like the safety of events, there does need to be more stuff done. Like, obviously the event can't be held culpable for it. What do you want the event to do? Like, bolt the mic stands down? It's like someone's just gonna lob a microphone.
Stuff's gonna happen. There was just the other year, there was what's the name? Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age just coming out and booting that Tog's camera into her face.
Yeah.
Like it no matter what happens, something's gonna happen eventually at gigs. It's just
and whether it's an accident or not. But then it's like, we do a lot to make sure the musicians themselves are safe in case, say, someone tries to climb on stage, they knock the mic stand. Like, it's like it generally set up so that if the mic stand gets knocked, it will go to the left or right of the singer rather than straight towards them. But then it's not really anything we could do to protect the audience from the singer. And I don't, it's amazing me that this is actually an issue where, like, it's happening enough times of musicians respectfully just being dicks.
Yeah.
Well, like, there's now a legitimate thing of like, if you go and see one of these bands, oh, you see this musician, is something going to happen?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Obviously, Axl Rose is a serial offender, one might say, whereas Ronnie, as far as like to the best of my knowledge, only did it once.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
think
like,
he's definitely gotten better over the
yeah,
years. Like I've seen him a couple of times on the reunion tour, and he seemed at least, he was on time. He was appreciative of the crowd, all of that. But that's
oh,
about where it ends. He's not going to completely change his entire
yeah,
personality.
I don't know, but like, it is frustrating that this is even like a talking point of like, oh, cool. Axl Rose is like blips someone else. Nice, cool.
I mean, it's got pretty widespread media coverage as well. Like I'm granted,
Damn
again,
right.
not the most reliable source, but Yahoo News I'm sat on
Oh,
right
my
now with it on.
favorite.
But yeah, just to kind of circle back around very quickly, it was Adelaide in
Yeah.
Australia was the gig. So they do
Yeah.
actually have a free healthcare over there.
Oh well, that's good.
So at least,
So yeah, I mean, let's go just to go back to sort of confirming it's happened.
mm,
You've got Sky News, whatever Joe News is. That sounds. I hope it's just information about you.
yes, just
New
every
York
Joe,
Post,
or it's just Joes that work there.
ABC. Oh, that would be amazing. LA Times. They've all reported on. He lobbed a microphone.
Mm,
Apparently there was blood everywhere, which is great.
nice.
Um,
It's pretty metal.
uh, it is. I think this might be the most metal thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
And yeah, Adelaide. So I mean, obviously good. She's got like there's free
Mm,
healthcare, but like I don't think it detracts necessarily. Obviously, it would be worse if his only response was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
mm,
If it was like in the States or somewhere where you don't have free healthcare.
exactly. But yeah, I don't know as far as a payout whether it's kind of the right thing to do or not. Because
Oof.
like it's odd because the way I see it is like we've said, free healthcare.
Yeah.
It was right at the end of the show, so it's not like she's missed any of the show to get anything sorted
Still,
out.
I have just seen a picture of her.
Mm.
She got messed up by that.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, let me send you this image. Obviously, we can't really show this image on anything, but anyone could go look this up.
Yeah.
But like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, she did.
like, the thing is, I know microphones to a lot of people do just seem like plastic with the little metal cap. Or then even if you just look at Axl Rose's, he's got that red pop filter on it.
Yeah.
So some people who, some people don't know the technical side of stuff.
Yeah, they
Might think
probably
it's
just think
just a
it's all.
sponge top,
Yeah.
plastic and sponge. It's not. That is metal,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts. Like it is a very common incident for people to chip teeth if they get tapped in the mouth with a microphone.
100%.
So, well, yeah, I agree. Like, obviously, the venue doesn't need to do anything in terms of like refunding tickets or anything, because it did happen right at the end, supposedly.
Yeah. Like my issue would be the whole, how did she get home kind of thing. It's not like you can
Yeah,
drive with a busted up face, is it?
I mean, also, if I had a microphone thrown into my face, did I lawsuits would be flying, bro. Like,
True.
I'd be getting a paycheck for that. Like, but I don't know. There's not much more to say. Axl Rose is a bit of a dick from
Yeah.
time to time.
It's the risk you run, I guess, going to see Axl Rose live.
Also, tangent. I've never rated them live. They seem like they could be amazing. I just hate his voice.
I've seen him.
His voice, man.
Obviously, I've not seen him until the reunion, because I refused to see Axl and Friends before Slash and Duff came back.
Oh, for sure.
And in London they were fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that was helped by the crowd because they played the
I
exact
mean,
same set of Download. The whole 3-hour epic that they do these days.
Yeah.
And I think because half the crowd of download were there for, the 3, 4 big songs that they have, the
Yeah.
other 2.5 hours, no one really gave a shit, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas at least at the London show, every single person had paid upwards of £100 each to see
Yeah.
all the songs on that 3-hour set.
Well, that's the thing, because the people who went to the London gig, massive fans.
Yeah.
People at download, yeah, I'd probably like. It depends who else is playing at the time, but I'd probably stop by.
Exactly. Especially
But I'm
towards the
not
end,
like like what is it? The November Rain or whatever it is.
Mm.
I don't. I'm not a Guns N' Roses fan. I'd hang around for that one. Or like if I was like I had the opportunity just to see Slash, like just shred, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But the rest, anyway, I think that's enough said about Axl Rose and co.
Yes. He'd probably hit us with a lawsuit if we said much more.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, and then it's pretty much just Metallica have dropped a single and announced an album and a massive 2-night each show tour thing.
Yeah. Fair enough to him.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say. I haven't like the last Metallica album I genuinely enjoyed so long ago. It was
I
so
didn't
long
mind.
ago.
Was it Death Magnetic? The Y one with
Uh,
the coffin on it. That was okay. The production was horrible on it, but the actual tracks themselves were good.
let's have a look. Says
I know a
let
lot of
me
people rave
open
about
Spotify.
the
On my
last
phone.
album,
Um,
but it was all right. The first half was good, but it was a double album, and the second disc wasn't the best.
so obviously you've got the 2021 Blacklist, which is
Oh, the covers, yeah.
you've got 13 on the first, the remastered box set, which is so many. Oh my god,
It's
that's
insane, isn't
4.
it?
Is that 5? How many CDs is this?
I know.
Oh my god!
They were
Wow.
charging like an arm and a leg for it as well. I'm sure it was something like
Sell your
250 quid.
gotta sell your soul for it. Right. So the last one I enjoyed, obviously, Ride the Lightning is amazing, and anyone who disagrees is just wrong. Master of Puppets, the normal Master of Puppets, not the box set, is obviously great. I think I'd say probably Saint Anger Time is where I kind of
Yeah, that's fair. I know, yeah,
checked
St. Anger
out.
gets a lot of stick. I think it's grown on me a little
Right,
more
Saint.
than.
Yeah, I'd like to know. Saint Anger is not the worst song. I mean, like around the time Saint Anger came out, like after that, probably where I checked out.
That's fair.
So that would have been early 2000s. Obviously, this is not me saying I was alive for the prior ones, but you know, but yeah, Saint Anger in terms of like my personal listening, I think just that album. There's a couple on it that were good.
Yes, it was definitely a drop off in quality.
Yeah. Oh, so you like Death Magnetic?
Yeah, it was just a bit more kind of thrash and
Yeah,
back to
that
the
was the
roots
one
a little more.
after. That was one after Saint Anger. Lulu though, I no, no.
Yeah, we ignore that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I hope their new album's good, man. I'm so glad the band from Stranger Things is making music.
Yeah, right.
It's so good to see.
That little known band that Stranger Things have helped become a worldwide name.
Yeah, it's so good of them.
Mm.
But no, I mean, I guess we'll see. Obviously, I still have my opinions on them in terms of playing festivals and the
Yeah.
rumored news about it. I still have my opinions on that. But you know what? If their new album slaps, fair game to them for
Yeah.
doing all this. Like, if the new album is amazing, go for it. You know.
I mean, I've checked out the single. It's good. It's very kind of early Metallica sound.
Yeah, it's not my thing at this moment in time. Critically, though, yeah, fair game to them.
Like, if the whole album is like this, I would actually be quite happy if they came out and said like, "Oh, we'll do this new stuff on this day at download."
Yeah,
I'd probably get a day ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll go and listen to it. I'm not the biggest Metallica fan, but like, I'm also don't think the single is the best song they've ever made. You know, if their new album is like that, like, I'm not saying every single song has to be that, but like, if it works like that, I'd happily go see it if I had the opportunity.
But yeah, so I think the album's due out in, I've got it somewhere, April the 14th.
Not bad.
On their own record label, which also makes me so jealous because it'd be so nice to have your own label.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
But yeah, and then to be fair, the tour looks pretty great. I know they've not announced anything over here, but the supports are incredible. Let me see if I can pull up a picture.
Who do they have?
Because they're doing 2 nights, I think they've got different support for each of the night.
Oh,
I know Pantera's on there.
Oof. I would go see Pantera.
I know. I'm so very excited for Grass Pop. They're on there. So Metallica in Paris, Wednesday and Friday. So the Wednesday is Five Finger Death Punch and Ice Nine Kills. And then the Friday is Architects and Mammoth, whatever his name is, the Van Halen's kid.
Oh, really?
So I imagine they've probably got Pantera for the States, maybe.
Yeah. Although you said this was for Paris, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, May.
Interesting having Architects and Ice Nine Kills, especially considering they'll both be doing a sort of thrashier, metalier stuff. Considering it's Metallica, to kind of fit that theme. I don't see Architects playing like well, what's it called? Dying is completely safe. You know, I don't.
Yeah, true. Maybe they'll actually do a heavier set again for once.
It would make sense considering who it's for. But with those 2 choices, must say I am slightly surprised they didn't have a French band.
Yeah.
There's plenty of very good French bands. Obviously, I know the one I'm about to mention is more gent than thrash or anything, but I think would still work, especially considering you've got Ice Nine Kills, who are like metalcore, horrorcore kind of band. Go Shira.
Yeah, I feel like they've done a tour with them before, but it might have been like a US one. I don't think they've ever brought them to Europe or anything like that.
Yeah, but it would make, at least in my opinion, like, it would make so much more sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying either of them would not be amazing. Actually, I don't know. It depends on what Architects play.
True.
If Architects, I have no doubt Ink will fit the vibe because it's Ink. You know? But with the latest 2 Architects albums, if it doesn't fit the vibe, like, I think that could be really disappointing for the gig as a whole, because Architects are phenomenal.
Yeah, they're very good live as well.
Yeah, if like, they're one of those bands that, especially if you could guarantee they were playing their old stuff, 100% recommend seeing live.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they are amazing. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be good to see how it goes. I do hope. Hopefully they'll release another single or 2 from the album.
Yeah, I think on the last album they did every track as a single, or at least they did a video for every track. I don't think they all came out beforehand, but yeah, it'd be nice to see, I don't know, maybe something a tad slower. Like I know obviously they've
Yeah.
gone back for the thrash thing, but even on Kill 'Em All, there were some, kind of slower parts to songs.
A lot of their songs, whilst they might not be slower the entire way through, they still had slower parts. So
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
I don't think it'd be anything too far fetched to say that they can't. Although I have a feeling that like if they if they have a slower song, someone's gonna get on Twitter and be like, "Oh, it's such new Metallica. They don't actually care about their original fans."
Yep.
And they'll probably be like the same age as me. So like the first album that we were alive for was Saint Anger.
Yep.
Shut up, man. And I know someone's gonna say that.
Yep.
I
There's going to
know
be the word
someone's gonna say
sellout
that.
thrown around.
Oh, definitive. There's no way that won't be.
Even though they've just, given the rights to one of their old tracks to a massive Netflix show.
Yeah.
But that's not
But
selling out.
no, that's
Writing a
fine, mate.
slower song is.
Also, on the note of a slower song, For Whom the Bells Toll, has anyone listened to the intro of that song?
Fantastic track.
Oh, it's amazing. It was one of the first songs I learned on bass.
Mm.
But yeah, no, there's going to be so many people up in arms if they do a slow song, even though it would make a lot of sense for them to have a slower song.
Yeah.
Also, like just on like album creation, or like slight tangent, having the entire thing as a wave rather than a stagnant line is far better. You need a level of diversity if the songs are not massively diverse themselves.
Exactly.
And even if
And I
they
mean, they're
are,
what?
diversity still helps.
I'm just quickly searching up his
Like,
age. Like they're not young anymore. I don't think they're probably going to want to be playing 40, 50 minutes of speed metal.
Christ, it's like everyone. I was when I reviewed the Machine Head album. I was looking through Twitter at like what people were thinking afterwards. It's in a couple of weeks after, and yeah, people being like, "Oh, the first song has such a slow, long intro. Like it's so disconnect." And I'm like, right, they're not getting shot at in a garage anymore. Like,
No,
of
exactly.
course they are slightly more mellowed out.
And I mean, that's, everyone praises The Blackening as one of their massively great albums. That has a 2-minute intro at the start of whatever the hell the first song is on that album.
Oh god, I can't remember. I've looked it up so many times already just doing this. I don't want to search it again. My Spotify now is gonna think I'm obsessed with Metallica all of a sudden.
It's all you're gonna get recommended.
I know. However, in other news, on slightly smaller things to mention, we've got a band called Casey, who I very much like. They went on like extended hiatus, and I want to say 2018. Okay. I might be. Don't quote me on the date. But they've just announced they're reuniting, and so they've just released a new song. If you couldn't tell, I really like this band. It's why I know. Just released a new song, which is doing pretty well for them. And like their tour's already sold out. Like it's sold out within like a week of them announcing it.
That's good.
Highly recommend this band. They are phenomenal. Then in like another little thing, you might have heard that Bless the Fall went on like a hiatus in maybe 2020, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
rings some bells.
Maybe it was the other way around where Casey went on hiatus in 2020 and they went on one in 2018. I'm trying to right. I'm looking up their Wikipedia. Give me a second.
It seems to be quite a popular thing. Like I know everyone was freaking out with the the leaked download announcement a few days ahead of the actual announcement, because everyone's like, oh, well, this can't be real because the Blackout are on there and they've not been a thing for ages. And then suddenly it comes out, and that was their odd way of announcing that they're back now, was just to be snuck on the undercard of the download poster.
Although with Bless the Fall seeming like they're not going to be getting back together. So
okay,
in 2018, their drummer left. I feel like I think this was the drummer that had been with them for quite a long time. And then in 2020, the band stopped updating like their social media accounts and everything. So, you know, kind of pretty good way to show they might not be still making music. So completely stopped updating it. And then a few days ago, the 4 remaining members of the band, they all removed like links and references to the band from their social media.
Oh,
so
I did see that. Yeah.
I don't think this is the massive thing of like that I've seen some people talking about of like they hate each other.
No,
you know,
I mean,
it's all going to shit. I think it might just be, bearing in mind, whilst not all of them have been here the entire time, I think I want to say it was Jared from the final lineup who was there the longest. Like the band's existed since like the early 2000s, like 04.
Yeah, I've heard the name for
Yeah, they've been
years and
around
years.
since 04. Yeah, with Jared, who was their bassist, who kind of still is, or however you want to see it. But like, so this band has been around for nearly 20 years. Not gonna lie, fair game if they just decided they wanted a quiet end.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be this massive dramatized.
It's quite nice to not see a band
to be honest,
completely explode as well.
If Bo, who's been doing their clean since 2008.
Okay.
Like if I follow him on Twitter, like if he tweets out, maybe he already has, I might have missed it. But if he tweets out, it's being like, yeah, we've it went its course. We kind of had our fill of the band now.
Yeah,
I think fair game. I mean, especially considering if you look at kind of what happened with the old singer.
Yeah.
Which rather conveniently sends us full circle back to Ronnie Radke.
Of course, yeah.
It's on a massive tangential side. Ronnie, original singer of oh god, what were they called? Did Picture Perfect, Escape the Fate, right?
That was it.
So Ronnie, original singer, Escape the Fate. Ronnie went to like prison or something in like 2007, I want to say, back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say how old I was, but I was not that old at that time. So he left to replace Ronnie in Escape the Fate, which is when Bo joined the band to replace Craig Mabbitt. But then obviously Escape the Fates had weird things over their time. I don't want to say they've ever had like issues, but they have been a interesting band. They've had a chaotic past, and I do think this is because of Ronnie's departure.
Yes, I would say so.
Where we don't have time to talk about it today, but I do recommend, and maybe we will talk about it later, but like some other time. But the departure of Ronnie was not necessarily friendly.
No, I don't think so.
I can confirm it was not. There was a lot of stuff going on there that took a long time for them to fix.
Yep.
But then obviously Ronnie made Falling in Reverse, which they created all levels of stuff. But so if it turns out Bless the Fool have just turned around and gone, we're just gonna have a really quiet departure.
Mm.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, just think about like some of the other bands who in recent times have like split up or stuff. Like, there's not a lot of commotion with this.
No,
Like,
not at all.
yeah. However, whilst researching this, because I was like trying to find if there was any big issues that had happened recently, and I'd like to know, doesn't seem like there was. The drummer left in 2018, but like beyond that, like, and that doesn't seem like there was much beef with that.
No.
But whilst researching it, found out a band called Ockley Dockley.
The Ned
Split
Flanders
this
one,
year.
yeah.
Ned Flanders metal, man. Dude, weirdest concept. One of the best bands I've ever heard.
They were really good, yeah.
But yeah. No, it's I do hope sort of in the future bands, especially if it is just this very gentle, we just had our fill. I do hope a lot of other bands can kind of turn around and go, huh, that was fair.
Yeah. Just learn to, yeah, be
It
like,
doesn't
okay,
need to
well,
be the dramatics.
yeah. Even if you can kind of feel it getting bad, just be like, okay, well, we'll stop then before this gets,
Or go on hiatus.
Yeah. But yeah, so what are you listening to, Max?
Well, potentially hinted to by recent comments. Been listening to a lot of Casey.
Nice.
They've just released a song called Great Grief. It's amazing. Heads up, like none of their music is happy. But like Great Grief and what is it called? Wound. Great
They
Grief
definitely sound happy.
and Wound. Amazing songs. Like they've been on loop. That and there's a song called Little Bird, which if I had heard that song after my breakup, that would have been bad. Because there's a line there which you've got. This has to be the one you put the clip in for, but it's like our hearts lay on the bedroom floor and one was mine, but both were yours. And it's just the energy and the power in his foot, like just the emotion in it. Like I have like very similar relations to that song as I do Eiley by Too Close to Touch. Then the other thing I'll be listening to, which is probably not good, in terms of like this combined with Casey, is Movements. Phenomenal band. Yeah. Really depressing.
Yes.
But like
100%.
So I have been listening to the rather quintessential Movements album, Feel Something. Thing is, it is a phenomenal album. The one from that really hits at the moment is Fever Dream.
Yes, good track.
That and a song from, I want to say it's their first EP. Don't quote me on that. I feel like it's 26. It was a 2016 EP, so it must be around the beginning. Oh no, I lied. They have a single from 2015. Sorry. But their EP, Outgrown Things, the second track on that is called 19. Brutal song, but it's utterly phenomenal. And I'll try and find it for you. But anyone listening, you should search up. This guy did like an analysis on how well written Feel Something is, and like a lot of Movements music is. And it's really, really well done. I think it is a fantastic analysis of how you can use poetry and harsh vocals to very well illustrate a point without coming off as cheesy. They are a phenomenal band.
Yes. Yeah,
what about you?
It's kind of been all over the place at the minute. Trying to kind of compile this horrible list of top albums we've done. or that we've listened to over the last year, I've kind of just been listening back through some of that.
Oh well, yeah. I think if we were including that, my recent listening to very different. I decided not to include that just because it's been like it just meant it was like Lorna Shore,
Machine
Shine
Head.
Down, Machine Head, Muse, Motionless and White.
Yes, I've had the new Roses album on repeat quite a lot.
Yes,
Saw
that is a
them
good album.
last weekend as well, and it checks out live as well. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, good.
Even like some of the album tracks from that album that I wasn't quite as sold with when I was first checking it out and reviewing it, they did that live, and I've not stopped listening to them.
Nice.
So there's that. The Alter Bridge album, Pawns and Kings, was amazing, and I'd kind of just been that wrapped up of the last month or two since it's come out that I'd not gone back and listened to it until this last week, and it's very good. But yeah, and then speaking of which, have you checked out much of the Zeal and Ardor album yet?
I fucking loved it.
It's so good.
So I hadn't listened to it until you sent me that list, and I've been working my way through trying to listen to the ones I've never heard the band of first. So I've never heard of Everett, or I think
neither had I until
Everett.
Storm of the Long Road.
Is it Everett? Everett?
I think it's Everett.
Never heard of Zeal and Ardor. Obviously, I've heard New Rose and Alter Bridge this year. I still don't know who Fez is. Is this an acronym that I'm just not smart enough to understand?
We saw them, I want to say last year. They're like a math rock pop kind of Paramore, but with better guitars.
I'll check because I haven't heard them yet.
But they were, I think they used to be called Flat Earth Society, and then everyone didn't quite get the joke. And we're like messaging them like horrible crap.
But no, like, so I've been going through. I think the last one I listened to was Zeal and Ardor. Dude, that was a really good album.
Yeah, the dude's vocal range is insane.
Fully deserves that spot, to be honest.
I still like, in terms of just songs on their own, I would say I Caught You is maybe my favorite track of the year.
It's not my favorite, but I'd support that.
But yeah, so I kind of based the topic, the question this time on my kind of experiences over the last year or so of doing this kind of stuff and going to a lot of like new wave of classic rock festivals and all this sort of thing. Most recently, Winter Rocks, which was fucking awesome, by the way. And noticing that there isn't like a huge amount of younger people going to these festivals, not kind of my age anyway. And yeah, it just got me thinking as to why. Really, is it the genre of music? But then even it shows like Biffy and Evanescence and all that kind of thing that I've done a bit later on this year, it's still not been just a bunch of young people in these arenas or anything like that. It's a lot more of the, not necessarily the older generation, but kind of, I don't know, 30, 40 plus, something like that.
Yeah. To be fair, I can attest to that. When I went to see Parkway, I was probably the youngest there. And I'm not exactly young in terms of going to see gigs. Like,
yeah.
But
yeah,
like just a lot of slightly, not massively older. I could say between my age and 35 is probably the majority. But like in terms of like the either side, like how much on either side you had, definitely more leaning towards being older. I saw a lot more older people, like definitely like around their 50s, sitting down in seats around it.
Yeah.
Than I did seeing young kids that were only like a couple of people I'd put, like, I'm talking like 5 to 10 that I'd put below the age of 18 that were there.
Yeah. And I've seen the same especially these festivals. And it's just a shame, like, you know, you've got all these massively talented young just coming up bands that are playing to crowds that aren't going to necessarily, you know, there's not a pit in sight. You're not going to have people throwing themselves around and all this kind of thing and giving the energy to the band that, you know, maybe some other genres of music would have.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's odd. It's really weird to see.
What do you think's kind of caused it? Why do you think this might be?
I don't know, to be honest, because I would quite happily hold my hand up and say that a lot of these bands younger people would get into. Like, I don't think the music necessarily is the issue. Maybe it's something to do with the marketing, I guess. Is it not being marketed to the youth? I know, especially the new wave of classic rock crowd are like, it's wonderful that it's all one big kind of happy family and everyone knows everyone and they all go to the same gigs. But that can be quite a imposing and intimidating sight to see when you're, you know, 17 and going along to see a gig and suddenly it's full of all these older folk that know each other and aren't going to give you the time of day.
Maybe. I think it might come from a different thing. I think it comes from a couple of things. At least from, man, obviously I'm on a little bit more of the culpable side of like, yeah, the sort of age bracket where people aren't really coming in. I think so. In my experience, talking to my friends, one, at least where we are, I don't think the heavy side of music is as big. Like the closest venue, like obviously we've got like the Dog and everything, but then like Rock City, which is meant to be, you know, this is the OG metal kind of venue, like
yeah, that's
venue.
not even as rock centric anymore.
They play like EDM a lot of time.
They get a lot of rappers in and stuff to play these days.
It's because they're trying to appeal to the uni students, and I can guarantee you, heavy stuff isn't big with uni students, at least where we are.
Not the majority, by any.
But I think big issues like, one, you have a lot of people who now have this hyper idealized version because of like social media and the internet of like these bands where like they just want to see this handful of bands. They won't go to like, you know, the small stage at a festival, and they won't go to one of the tents, which is how I found out about, I've mentioned before, it's how I found out about like Sleep Token. Like,
yes, yeah, I remember you saying.
I had like heard tidbits before, saw them for like a little bit in this tent, and then a little bit after, a song of theirs came on my Spotify just randomly. But like, I think if I didn't have that connection to like, oh yeah, they're them, they're actually pretty cool live, I wouldn't have had that same connection to it. So I think a lot of people aren't as interested in going to see like the small bands. They sort of want their band to be huge and massive and amazing. And then also I think it's like, you know, you've got like this whole thing like Bad Omens and Pierce the Veil, where you know, they have very polished music. Their albums are very, very good. There's nothing against the band. They have the money to afford, or like they have a record deal that can afford very good engineers. So I think a lot of people around my age have somehow got this concept that all music is meant to be that polished, is meant to be that perfect. And then as soon as an album comes on, it's maybe a little, you know, rough around the edges. They don't go, oh, actually, the music's fun. They go, oh, sounds crap. Doesn't sound as good as them.
Yeah.
And they only go to see particular bands. Like, I mean, you saw it with I think it was the I Prevail tour. I want to say it was the I Prevail tour, where people buying tickets because Pierce Bell was supporting, just going to see Pierce Bell and then leaving.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to see I Prevail. And it was a lot of young people. Like the videos of it, you don't see, the people we've mentioned, like the slightly older generation where they all kind of know each other. They've been going to these gigs for like a few decades. Wasn't them leaving. It was, 18-year-olds leaving. And I think that's the issue. I think they're stuck up, to be honest. But then also it's this wave of like social media where like it's kind of like if TikTok doesn't, your song doesn't blow up on TikTok, you're not that good.
Yeah, I know.
And that's instead of it being like, obviously I grew up in the sort of change between where you go to gigs to find out about bands, or like, your mate would be like, I picked up this tape, like this, this CD or
have this CD,
whatever,
listen to this
band. Then also, the start of like Spotify and like sort of MP3s and stuff, where it was like, oh mate, check this out. You stick their earphones in, and it's like, oh, this is sick. Who's this? You go home, YouTube to MP3 converter, download it.
Yep.
It was a lot of word of mouth. You'd look at like magazines, and then you'd have, at least for me, I have my older mates who could go to gigs, who were old enough to go to gigs. They'd be like, yeah, this band was great, and then I'd go check them out. Whereas now it's just like, song blew up on TikTok, band must be good. And then you have people absolutely bricking themselves saying Bad Omens when they play like Dethrone, which is effectively like, if Lorna Shore wanted them, like if Lorna Shore played it, you wouldn't be surprised, kind of thing. Very aggressive, heavy song. And I think it's just people, like young people, have stagnated in how they find out about music and how they approach new bands.
I don't think, like, as fantastic a marketing tool as Spotify and all these streaming services are, I don't think they're quite as helpful and on that side of things, on introducing these young people to, or anyone, to new genres. As unless you've got someone sending out a link to their band, you're not going to find a new genre, because Spotify is very pigeonholy with what it promotes. And like, you look at all these metal playlists that they've made now, half of them have got the same songs on them, regardless of what subgenre it is or anything like that.
Well, exactly. There's a few metal players I follow. I follow Nick Nocturnal's like modern metal one, which he himself said like, this is just modern music. This is not like a genre. So that playlist could be pretty chaotic at points. But then the other way I've noticed bands trying to get recognition is like, they try to follow your Instagram. Like, because I have Sleep Token tagged in one of my posts from one times I've seen them, and I've got a public Instagram. Some of them like commented on it, being like, oh yeah, they're such a good band, like we really try and replicate them in our music. And if you click on their profile, it was going to their band page, and it's how they were trying to promote it. And it's like, fair game to them for being on that grind, but like, obviously I'm not going to listen if you comment something cracked on my
Instagram.
And
it's a shame that bands have to go to these sort of lengths these days just to get anyone to listen to them. I know how insanely saturated the market is at the minute, especially now that anyone can just record something and put it up on Spotify. I mean, heck, we're doing it right now.
Not quite.
But like, it's crazy that bands are having to actively search out people who might like their music and having to write to them, essentially.
It is. It's very weird, and it's frustrating, because I do think it's just the younger generation's being lazy. They don't want to go. Dude, when I was younger, it sounds so weird now to think about. I had like this dream of going to like the slightly grungy, big grotty venue
Oh yeah,
and just
100%.
seeing random band. And you know
Yeah.
what I did? As soon as like I moved out, I went to a place there where I now live and just saw a bunch of random bands.
Yeah, exactly.
I've now been to quite a few random places around, to be honest, around the country.
Mm.
Like I went to one in Leeds not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
Uh, didn't find anyone good there. It was like a really weird sort of semi-pop punk night that I
Nice.
thought that it was kind of marketed to be like Motion City soundtrack,
Oh yeah.
Newfound Glory kind of thing.
Okay.
It was not. It was just pop music, and I was there like,
Pop music and then Fat
like
Lip
kind of
by Sum 41.
basically, yeah, like one band unironically covered that song. And I'm like, I'm just there in the back wearing like, yeah, got painted nails, got my earrings in, like, look like I'm, look like I normally do, like straight out of a deathcore gig kind of thing. Just standing in the back, like, what is going on? But even then, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like me and my mates were just standing at the back talking with the LD, lighting designer,
Yes.
being like, this is so weird. This is how it's marketed. It's just not that. And it was great. We had a laugh. Like, I love doing stuff like this, just going, like, see bands I've never heard of. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
like there have been some things that I've gone to where it's just like my mates have turned around and been like, got a ticket to this, you want to come? And I haven't heard of a single band playing.
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah. Because how you discover music, and like maybe it's like an aftermath to give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe it is like an aftermath of COVID where like they're a
Yeah,
little
true.
worried. But then even still, it's like you see people go to like, you know, the EDM rave things. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm too boomer for it. I'm too boomer. Like negative protection. Like, you know, so clearly it's not that big of an issue for people.
Exactly.
Like, I think when I was in hospital, other than myself, I saw like 3 people wearing a mask, excluding the doctors themselves.
Mm.
And it's like, so I don't think you can even really give them that kind of benefit of the doubt.
No.
And it's just kind of like, it's very frustrating of now it just seems like the way to make or break a band is, can you get famous on TikTok?
It's weird, isn't it? Do you think like the mainstream media is hindering in any way? I know obviously it's the mainstream media's always kind of been anti-rock and all this kind of thing, you know, even way back in the 60s and 70s, but I don't
To be
know, do you think
fair,
it's finally, after decades of drilling it into people, there's finally a generation that are kind of scared of metal?
yes. And I do think there is a level of culpability on sort of pop culture and mainstream media of they hide from playing songs that are not the norm. And it's not just like rock and like, well, it's not even like metal on that level alternative. I think rock now gets a decent playtime.
Yeah, I think bands like, obviously, you know, Arctic Monkeys from back in the day, and
Yeah,
even
well,
as way
exactly.
up to Manskin now, you know.
You could argue that the 21 Pilots, whilst I do not like them, are
Yeah,
some level a rock band.
at least the first couple of albums, yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly, much to my chagrin, plays rock music.
Yeah.
Like, and they get airtime.
Oh, and yeah, massive amount.
But then I think you only on very sparse occasions have counters of different genres, like even like jazz, you know, which predates any level of pop music.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, unless you want to go down the whole route of like pop is popular, but obviously it's an actual genre with archetypes and everything, so you can't make that argument. Um, but you know, jazz predates a lot, basically all of this, apart from like classical and folk.
Yeah.
And like, I think the last time I personally heard a jazz song in any level of pop culture. And granted, I don't watch a lot of TV or movies, but like the last time I heard of any recognition is the song that was in Community.
Oh God,
By the way,
yeah.
banging show.
Fantastic.
In
I've heard they're finally getting the
Community.
movie.
They
I'm
are.
sure I saw somewhere,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, they are, and I absolutely lost it. But anyway,
So
Daybreak, it's a jazz melody performed and written by Michael Haggins. It's amazing, and the way they did it was in such a natural way of they hummed it. They're like ba 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 da ba 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 da, like yeah, and it's great, and it's such a good melody. And so that was in Community, and then obviously the most recent one that we've kind of already mentioned was in a previous bit. This was Metallica and
in
what do you call
Stranger
it?
Things, yeah.
Strange Things, and it's like, and then the weird, genuinely, in my opinion, the weird response to it.
Yeah,
If
I
it
mean,
wasn't like, oh, nice,
I was
metal
gonna
is
say, like,
being
do you think
introduced.
it's
It
a
was
case
like,
of people not quite understanding what metal is as
yeah,
well? Like,
oh, definitely.
people
I think
see
people
metal and go, "Oh,
associate,
okay, so that's Cannibal Corpse then," and burning
yeah.
churches and corpse paint,
Also,
and
Cannibal Corpse, like, still kind of bangs, man.
oh,
Like,
yeah,
grindcore is kind of great. I
their last
like,
album was
like,
phenomenal. Last year,
oh my god, dude, it's so good. And we will get sidetracked on that.
yes,
Um, but no, like, I do think everyone associates it with like old school Slipknot,
yeah,
like just the masks, the kind of menace and nastiness,
exactly.
the grit and gore.
Whereas if they actually turn around and listen to, I mean, even newer Slipknot or like Metallica or freaking Ghost, I know a lot of people are in contention as to whether Ghost are metal or not, but
Dude, I'm
their
not a fan
heavier
of the latest
songs
album, but
are
yeah, freaking
still poppy as anything.
right. Like Square Hammer raps.
Exactly.
Seriously, like they are metal songs,
I mean,
but they
they've
are so they're
just blown
like.
up on TikTok as well, right?
But that's the thing. That's how that album got so popular.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm conspiratorial, but I swear to God, it's how this is happening. Like, and it's not even, no offense to them, one of their best songs.
No, it's not.
Genuinely, I would die on this hill, and I am certain if this podcast like gets notoriety, they will hunt me down for the statement. Mary on a Cross is a shit song.
It's not one of their best.
It is not the worst thing I've ever heard, but it is so boring. It's maybe I'm coming across as rather like diatribe in the way I'm talking, but it's like it's the fact that like it's not a fantastic song, but that's the one that's blown up because it's like, oh my god, guys, do you know that this song that is very obviously about going down on someone is about going down on someone?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, and it blows people's minds. I am so like up in arms about like how frustrating TikTok popularity is.
Yeah.
But I am gonna get a calculator out. So came out in 2019. That's 3 years, yeah, boys. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're in agreement on maths.
Indeed.
I'd laugh if I got the maths wrong.
I mean, it's 4 years.
So, don't say that because that will actually freak me out. I'm not ready for 2023. That means it got those listens, assuming TikTok didn't really affect it. It got the 209 million. Per year, it got almost 70 million, right? Cool. That's mental numbers.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it is.
If that was per year, obviously it's not per year. The majority of this has been very recent. Squarehammer, the next, as far as I can see, their next highest listened one, got 123 million. This came out in 2016, which Great Heavens was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
20
right.
million a year. So that means it could have got 20 million a year. Like, there is such clear evidence that, and I will say this, Square Hammer is a better song.
Yes, agreed.
But it has such clear proof that TikTok just controls that. And then to follow suit, we go to Bad Omens, right? Amazing band. Their song Just Pretend blew up.
Yeah.
Doesn't have quite the same numbers because a couple of their songs kind of got popularity and it was nowhere near the same level of Ghost. But Just Pretend really blew up. And it's now their most listened to song, like their most popular song. It's not a bad song, but I don't remember it being number one.
No. No, neither do I.
And like they're heavy ones. Like, sure, the Death of Peace of Mind has some heavy bits, but Dethrone and Artificial Suicide. Bear in mind, Artificial Suicide has 11 million and Dethrone has 18 million. So very listened to songs, not on the top 5. It's now like their most pop like ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, it just shows the power TikTok has.
It's insane that it's, especially with rock and metal music now as well.
Yeah,
that it's
and this is
branched out from pop.
Yeah, but now it's young people having their idea of rock and metal and core music being perverted in a different way to back in like the 80s where it was like, this is devil's music. It's now, oh my god, they're just like so emotional.
Yeah.
And there is a sexualized content to it, which we'll speak about in the future on how deep the sexualized nature of music goes. But like, it's now like, it's just like really deep, like so emotional. And then you hear Artificial Suicide, which is him screaming, just screaming, man, and it's a banger.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating for it to be no young people want to go to gigs unless it's a band that's blowing up on TikTok.
Yeah,
Or
right.
on Instagram or whatever they're using. Oh no, there's going to be a new social media next year. Or, it's if it doesn't blow up on there, they won't go see the band. But then the only stuff that blows up on there is stuff that is the most central to pop.
Exactly.
And
odd,
I do think it's going to now end up starting this thing of not only the bands have to trying to blow up on TikTok, try and message you on Instagram. They're going to be very intense, heavy bands that have to have one or two
exactly. There's
more mainstream songs. Yeah. And then their core fans are going to be like, you sold out.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid because the power should be based upon how good the band is.
Yeah.
So I think what we do is pretty useful. If we give a review to the music.
Exactly.
But ultimately, nothing's going to change until young people, are game to go to like the slightly odd little grungy venues to just listen to stuff.
Yeah. The only other potential issue, reason, whatever I can see is the whole financial side of things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that any of the gigs I've done this year are especially expensive or anything like that. Like, I've shied away from Metallica, Guns N' Roses, all these kind of £100+ gigs. But, I mean, we've seen it enough as it is, just trying to put these couple on that we've done. Trying to convince young people to pay £3 to see some live music is seemingly impossible. And then when you've got these festivals like Winter Rocks, which was 2 days, I think it was something like £50, if that, and you're getting 15 incredible bands, And I don't know, can kids not afford it? Maybe. I know, obviously, there's a cost of living crisis across the world at the minute, never mind just the UK. But I don't know. People maybe, but then everyone is struggling for money. It's not just like it's the youth.
Well, exactly. And like, to be honest, I think if it was like, if we were talking about like Metallica had sold to like half capacity, yes, there is a conversation to be had about are people willing to spend that money.
Exactly.
Obviously, theirs was 100 plus, right?
Yeah. 100
Yeah,
well, I think it was 100 a night, so you were talking 200
yeah, it was
plus for the two
spendy.
shows.
It was spendy. But then, like, the band that shall not be named that I'm going to see again, Pierce Vale, who I was meant to see, all of the gigs I've seen this, like, that I have either bought or will see this year, which would be 8 different gigs, cost me about 100 quid.
Yeah, I mean, we've got tickets for Ice Nine Kills in March. I think
Yeah, yeah.
£18 a ticket it came to, something
So,
crazy
right,
low like that.
Pierce Vale, who have been around for forever, 30 quid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like,
Biffy was only 50.
yeah. I don't think the money is an issue. It's people are I think people would actually rather spend the £100 on one because I think people believe, and maybe rightly so, that it will be a better show.
True. I think to a
But
certain extent, there's things you can do with not only a bigger stage, but a much bigger budget.
I saw Cane Hill when they were first kind of blowing up. Um, it was amazing. Granted, everyone was there to see Barry tomorrow, but they had fun.
Exactly.
First time I saw Sleep Token, yeah, everyone was obviously there to see them. But yeah, I can't remember who the support band was, but everyone enjoyed them. Second time, supported by AA Williams. It was different to a lot of Sleep Token music, but everyone enjoyed it. Everyone stayed and watched it. Like, and then the gigs I've been to where I haven't known anyone, like it seemed to be a consensus that no one really knew what was going on here, but everyone had fun.
Yeah.
And it was a good night. It's not about whether the money does not tell you the gig's going to be good.
Exactly. I mean, I've seen System of a Down a couple of times at Download now. And
Yeah.
considering they'd probably be a band that had, 60 plus pound at their own arena show. My God, they were so boring.
Yeah.
Like there was no
It's not the
stage show there.
money.
There was no fun, no camaraderie. It was literally they'd show up, play the songs, piss off again.
It's not the money that is indicative of how good it's going to be.
Mm.
It's if you go in and you feel you get that electric feeling.
Yeah.
The crowd starts packing in around you, and you can't, like, if the pit starts to form, everyone like moves away in a wave, and the pit might be 20 meters away from you. If you're at like an arena,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a banging show.
Exactly.
If you're in a small like club and the crowd is a wave, one, dangerous, but it's gonna be a banger. Like,
Yeah,
I think young people need to learn the thing that has become less common, maybe because of COVID, maybe because of social media,
Yeah.
but that was more common when, like, definitely when our parents were younger. If you just go out, you just go see a band,
Yeah.
just for something to do.
Or even just, I mean, obviously, if you're here, then you know about us already. But even just check out some journalism around the subject. Pick up a copy of Kerrang or Metal Hammer or
Dude,
just scroll through a web page.
Loudwire. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably not in our best interest to shout out our ones, but they're gonna know us, gonna know them before they know us
Yeah,
anyway.
100%.
Loudwire has been doing this for ages, and they are so good. I got into like interviews of journalism from watching that guy in, I can't remember his name. He's so great.
Yeah.
You'll know him as soon as I like talk about it, but he's the one who like would interview musicians and bands and like, would just ask them random questions.
Exactly.
Big up him though, by the way. He
Yes.
recovered from cancer relatively recently.
Oh, nice.
So, kind of sick. But like that's how I got into this. Like, and now they're doing phenomenal videos talking about like how like done Chris Motionless, they've done Will Ramos of like how you learn to scream. Like they stuck a camera down Will Ramos' throat. Like music journalism is so good at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, you have bad sites, you have takes that are stupid. But that's why you need to diversify your reading. Like, don't just look at us, don't just look at Loudwire, don't just look at but the rest of them. Just read around.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in my day, I want to say it was Kerrang.
Yeah, I used to buy Kerrang
TV
all the time.
Yeah. And then on the TV, they had a stage, like a channel, and it would just show like music videos with the songs. Dude, I discovered so many bands from that.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
Same here. Like I would not be a Rise Against fan at all today if it wasn't for
100%.
Kerrang TV.
100%. I don't know if Kerrang TV still exists, but like, I don't know. I think people need to diversify how they learn, because that's really what's gonna stifle some phenomenal musicians.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not like it's everyone, like
No.
the minute Manskin are massive. Granted, that was because of Eurovision.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look at Florence Black and stuff like that. Like they're from a little town in Wales, and suddenly they're supporting stadium shows across Europe and stuff. Like it can be done.
Exactly.
But
you just need to let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we should leave it. Just try and discover. Nothing will happen unless you let it.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening to the Overtone podcast. Join us next time. Have a good day.